Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? And welcome and happy Christmas Eve. This is your boy DG is here. I'm hosting for Coach today, but we have an incredible show. Unlike what we had last night, we had just an ugly game. We'll get into all of that and much more. Today is Tuesday, so you know that we have soup and salad. And we have an incredible breakdown of the playoff picture that we have already in the NFL. We have the Christmas Day games. And so we're going to get into all of that and much more with our guys. But before we go forward, let's take a look back at yesterday. And I promise you, it's just as bad as my costume today. Look at this. This isn't pretty. I promise. Not pretty at all. But look at your boy going 3-0 with the clean sweep. What a beautiful look at there. So make sure you tune in throughout the entire week. We will have a show tomorrow. So make sure you tune into that. And everything to the podcast and all that we have going on throughout the week. But as you all know that we do have the Howie Schwab play of the day. So today we have South Florida. This is the only game, and there's not much happening in sports in general, but South Florida +3. We have San Jose State -3. We have the over of 64, the under of 64. So make sure you go ahead and hit that in, as well as hitting the like button. Do us a favor. If you're in the chat, thank you to all the crew, all the OGs here. Make sure you drop the chat and hit the like button there in YouTube. But we are on Stadium Live. And, yeah, you got Buddy the Elf kind of dressed up today. It's Christmas Eve. We're having a lot of fun on this show. Let's go ahead and get in the guys and get into the picks. Look at all these four. It's the Motley Crew. But I see somebody dressed up. I think it might be a Christmas sweater. Something happened. I'm not sure, Raphael. Do you have something? What are you wearing today?
Got my Star Wars Christmas t-shirt on because the best Christmas movies Return of the Jedi. Luke has a green lightsaber and Darth Vader has a red one.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, that I'm in the festive spirit. The other guy, I don't know what you're wearing down there, Soupy, but what you got, and good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I guess Coach isn't hosting because him and Mom and Papa Coach were out in the club last night.
I think they were doing it big last night. Coach got in the club, but not on the show. Is it an asterisk? I don't know. We'll get into that whenever Coach gets back. I want to have that face-to-face with him. I want to look him in the eyes and see how he really feels. But Little Lettuce, how are you? You're somewhere. You're not in the friendly confines of your home, or you're not at school. So where are we at?
No, it's a neutral location today, guys. I'm in my grandparents' basement here in Baltimore, Maryland. Flew in late last night. Here for Christmas. Man, it's going to be a fantastic December Christmas this year. I'm excited.
Yeah, it will be a fantastic Christmas, and we're going to have a lot of discussions in the breaks. And so because we are here on Stadium, we'll do the breaks over on YouTube. We're going to have some fun, festive stuff about Christmas. But our last guy, there is no soccer. Are you like fiending right now? Charles is like a caged animal. What's up, and good morning, Charles.
Morning, D to the G, DTL crew. Yeah, nothing on the board, not even soccer. That's crazy. But yeah, definitely want to send a shout out to Coach finally getting in the club, even though I thought Jordan Love should have snuck it right in from the one, and then he ends up doing it on the very next series. But other than that, I couldn't be happy to see him in the club. I know it's a late night.
Yeah, definitely a late night. But they went to Wicks on I think it was a second down, and he lost yardage, and then they went right back to him there on that third down to get him in. So that was a great game. But let's look back at that game last night. It was a 34-0 game. It was the first shutout all season. Raphael, I know you watched the game. I know you saw it. What's your thoughts on it overall? Because it looked almost unwatchable at times.
Looked like it. It was unwatchable. I don't know what game you were watching. It was awful football playing on the Saints side. And the Saints came out and said they were playing for the weather. They practice in freezers is what I was reading. They looked like they were practicing on a beach because their defense looked like they were stuck in the mud. It was a horrible, horrible game for the Saints. I thought it was a bad look. And I'm totally blown away. That was the first game shut out this season. I thought someone else got blown out and got the goose egg this year.
Yeah, it was ugly, but it's a fantasy time as well for fantasy football playoffs, and so that was big. So Soupy and Lil Les, I'm going to come to y'all, but Soupy first. That game last night, we had Jordan Love go for 182 yards and a touchdown, nothing to write home about. We had Josh Jacobs for 13 carries, 69 yards and a tutty. Emmanuel Wilson, 11 carries, 52 yards and a tutty. like just completely just letting us down as fantasy owners if you had Jordan Love.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and especially with that Saints secondary, they are one of the worst. They were bottom 5, I believe, in points allowed to the quarterback. Hopefully, because this is your playoffs, these were your semifinals, that it didn't hurt you too much. But if you had Josh Jacobs, you are probably in. And I told some people in deeper leagues to take Chris Brooks because I believed that this was going to be a blowout and he was going to get some touches. He did. He scored. Let's hope you're in the finals.
Yeah, a lot of those were unders last night. If you saw from our picks, if we'd have played unders, the opposite of what we played, we would have mopped up for sure. But little lettuce. Last night was a little crazy on those. Did you have anything or anybody in that game that you were playing on the fantasy side?
Well, it was tough to play guys like Josh Jacobs and Jordan Love in that game because you knew it was going to be a blowout. The spread's 14, but I thought they were going to cover it easily, which they did, and that's a good call on Soupy's part with Chris Brooks, who got in the end zone. But I mean, man, 34-0's terrible. And I'm on Southwest. Everyone knows that's the only thing I was able to watch. I said that last week. It happened to me again. All I had to do was sit there and have to watch ESPN and 34-0 game. It was brutal.
It could be worse. It could be worse. It's the holiday season. Cheer up. By God. All right, let's go. Last thing to you. And I saw this, Charles, and I'm curious what your thoughts might be, but we had 9 people have rushing attempts. That could be behind the line as you throw the ball behind the line. That's considered a rushing attempt, but also 10 receivers. It's like 9 rushers, 10 receivers. That's the craziest I've ever seen a spread completely in a game.
It was completely crazy, but unfortunately, Jordan Love couldn't hit the side of a barn. He couldn't get my man Romeo Doubs over 38.5 yards. It was crazy how they were spreading it out. And that's why I thought the unders were the appropriate plays to get for the both quarterbacks, receivers, running backs. So it kind of played out as part, but I couldn't really understand why that total kept going up. I thought the Saints might actually score some points and make it competitive, but the correlation worked out Packers in the under.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. And Matt wants to know the odds of me wearing the yellow pants. No is plus 110. Yes is minus 120. They're not comfortable. That's all I'll say. So I'm not wearing them today. But let's go ahead and get into the picks. And producer man, if we can get the pick screen, let's go ahead and get through these. Let's go ahead and start with Charles because we do have soccer. We'll start there and then we'll kind of go around.
And this is EPL action Thursday, Boxing Day. It's Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham. I have a triple pack that goes a little something like this. The first half over 1.5 goals with Tottenham matches generating 2 or more first half goals in 5 of their last 7 fixtures. Nottingham Forest, first half team total over half a goal. I like the tricky trees in this contest, and they've cashed this first half prop in 2 of their last 3 outings. And the Nottingham Forest team total over 1.5 goals has come through in 3 straight events. Lastly, my blowout spot, Liverpool, welcome Leicester City to town. Liverpool, first half team total over 1.5 goals as Leicester City concede 1.4 first half goals on the road. Let's cash these tickets, DTL crew.
Chuck, what day is this again? Just to remind the people.
That's on Thursday, day after Christmas on Boxing Day.
Yep. So make sure you check it out because you don't want to miss these, especially early looks from Chuck. That might be a new segment we get because anytime you can get a better number, you always want to cash with that. But let's go ahead and cash with Coach here. He has the Chiefs at minus 30. This is the Christmas Day game. It's at minus 105. And then we have the Ravens at minus 5.5. And that's at minus 110. And so he's going with the favorites here. So Coach putting in his picks a little bit early. All right, let's go to Raphael next. What you got?
I'm being the Grinch with the Kansas City coaches. That's why I'm going to alternate line with the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3.5. Give me the plus 2 to 1. Like Azazzo says, let's get nuts on Christmas. Pittsburgh pulls off the upset. I'll take the Steelers minus 3.5 at 2 to 1. And then give me on Christmas Day, the first game of the NBA game. The Spurs are playing the Knicks. Give me Victor Wemby over 33.5 points and rebounds. He's hit this prop at 3 straight games and 5 out of 6 in his career versus the Knicks. The 2 games he's played, he's averaging almost 28 points a game.
And that's the early game for the NBA. And so it's going to be pretty early for those guys to wake up. I do like the over on Wemby, but overall, I'm looking at those picks that might go under because maybe that they're just kind of sleepwalking and it's Christmas morning. I don't know. There could be a lot that happens with that. So make sure you check out that. Make sure you check out the times of these games because it's going to be a little bit different as it goes throughout the day. But let me go to the game that's actually happening today. And we're going to go with University of South Florida versus San Jose State. I'm going back to the well here. I'm going to go the first quarter, both teams to score. It's at minus 125. It's simple. Good offense, bad defense. And I know they have a lot of guys, and the transfer portal guys are in and out. That doesn't help their defense. I still think that there's a lot of guys that are good enough to somehow come through here. So all we need is both teams just to score. I don't care if it's a 1 point. Somehow they find 1 point in there. That's all we need. Both teams to score here at minus 125. And then we're going to go to the Christmas Day game. Xavier Worthy, over 50.5 rushing plus receiving yards. It's at minus 125. He's over in 5 of the last 6 games of 51 plus. And so I like him here. He's been a guy that Patrick Mahomes is looking for and looking for Andy Reid to get him kind of in the offense either way he can, whether it is rushing or receiving. So I like Xavier Worthy over the 50.5 rushing plus receiving. All right, let's keep it going. We're going to go with Soupy here. He's kind of going the same way I am. I don't know if that's good or bad, but Soupy, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this San Jose South Florida game. San Jose, biggest passing percentage in college football, 64.6%. Both teams like to play fast. South Florida, most plays per minute, 2.3, and San Jose is at 9. So we're going to see a lot of plays in this game. In South Florida, they're 133rd against the pass. That's why I'm taking San Jose. And I teased down the total a little bit. I still think we're going to see a lot of scoring, but I teased down the total to give you still a very good parlay. And Chiefs Ravens, well, I think that the running game is going to be non-existent. And now you got Russell Wilson. He's going to have George Pickens back. That is going to be a huge boost for him. So I see both teams throwing a lot, and I see a lot of scoring in this game. So I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, I do like the over in that game. That is a sneaky look. And so there could be some issues with the running. And so that's kind of why I'm going with the Xavier Worthy to get a little, creative in the offense to try to get some of that running game going. But we're going back to Christmas Day game, and we got with Peyton. What you got?
Well, speaking of Christmas Day game overs, I'm going Ravens, Texans over 46.5. We're going to see a lot of touchdowns in this game with these two star quarterbacks. The Ravens allow 23 points a game to opponents, but their offense is averaging 30 points a game. So as we well know that, and 9 of the last 11 Raven games have gone over the total. So I'm going to stick with that to happen in Houston this week. Also, I'm going to take the Golden State Warriors team total over 114.5. Sorry, JJ Redick, they're playing the Lakers. So shout out JJ. Sorry, but your team can't play any defense. They're allowing 114 points a game. You gave up 117 to the Pistons in your own building, and they gave up 111 to the Warriors last time they played them. And Steph went 6 of 18 in that game. So I think Steph's going to have a much better game at home, at Oracle. We're going to see a lot of three-pointers from Golden State, taking Warriors team total over 114.5.
Peyton, real quick, going back to that, the Lakers and the Warriors, they're both kind of been struggling here and there, and they both had their issues. What do you think the real reason is for either one, either the Warriors or the Lakers? Because they've had their minimal struggles, but they're trying to, I guess Lakers are riding the ship a little bit, but the Warriors seem to be struggling right now.
Well, honestly, for both teams, you just don't see the same guys playing every night, and not even playing, but starting. And it's a lot of iffy, questionable here, questionable there. You got to get everybody to play together, and we'll see that come closer to the playoffs. But for both teams, really, when you talk about LeBron and AD, and also Steph and Draymond, who just came back last night, you need the guys to play together, all 5, so they can get something going together.
Yeah, I agree with that completely, because there needs to be some kind of chemistry, and that might be the issue. And last thing, Soupy, real quick, you got about 15 seconds. Is this the only thing on tonight with San Jose and USF? Is this an exciting game just overall for you?
Yeah, because I think we're going to see a lot of scoring, and that's what we want to see in any game. The over 63.5, I think, hits anyways, but I teased it down. You still get a plus odds.
Yeah, so make sure you check it out. It's going to be a fun game because it is pretty much the only thing on, and so everybody's going to be watching it and having fun, just like we are on the show. We're going to be getting into a lot of the Christmas stuff. We're going to be getting through the playoffs, breaking down the Christmas Day games. There's going to be so much that's happening today, so make sure you stay tuned with us as we are live here on Stadium. All right, we are coming back with all of the OGs and degenerates, as Coach likes to call you. But we have some fun things that we want to get into. And Rafael, I'm going to start with you. We need to know an important answer to this question. the best Christmas movie of all time for you, Raphael?
I'd probably have to say The Christmas Story. I mean, just because I grew up watching it. I mean, Elf is really, really close on there, but I think if all is said and done, The Christmas Story, because you can watch it 24 hours a day starting Christmas Eve. And even the new one that came out last year is very entertaining.
It was very, very entertaining. As we grew up, a lot of us, it was on TBS consistently from, I think it was Christmas Eve all the way through Christmas. It was crazy. It almost where you got kind of tired of it. But Peyton, anything, what, because your age bracket is a little bit different than ours. Like, what's good to you and what's your favorite Christmas movie?
His is probably Frozen.
I was waiting for something like that. My number one is Home Alone, but as a family, when we got the whole family in the living room watching, we love the Clark Griswold family Christmas Vacation. Absolute classic.
Yeah, I like that. Soupy, what's yours?
Damn, I got to agree with him. Yeah,
Oh,
I love Christmas
no.
Vacation. We watched, me and my wife, that's both our favorite. We watched it at the beginning of the holiday season, and actually we just watched it again last night.
Wow. Chuck, what you got down to dirty?
I definitely didn't expect Peyton to go back on that one. That's the one I was going to go in. I didn't think no one's going to swoop that one up. Instant classic. Loved the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Absolutely.
Yeah, Christmas Vacation is a classic. I like Elf, but probably my favorite has to be Home Alone, the original, the OG. I like them all. I watch them with the kids. The kids, they call it Kevin. But Raphael, is Die Hard an actual Christmas movie?
Yes, of course it is. I mean, it's great. It's one of the all Christmas movies doesn't need to be just funny. Some action can be involved in Christmas movies. So yes.
I just saw producer man just vehemently shaking his head because I guess he loves and agrees that this is a Christmas movie for Die Hard. I actually just watched it for the first time the other day.
What?
Yeah, I'd never seen it. So anyway, we'll be right back live on Stadium. All right, this is DTL Driving the Line. We are here on a Christmas Eve hanging out with you. And so we want to make sure that we have some fun in the break. We talked about our favorite Christmas movies and what it was. And a lot of them were Christmas Vacation, Elf, Home Alone. We talked about the very pivotal discussion of, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? But we have Christmas Day NFL games coming up. So let's go ahead and get the graphic up on that one. We want to look at these with the guys. But we have the Chiefs taking on the Steelers here, and the Chiefs are favored by 3. And so this is a 43.5, and that's something to look at. So, Raphael, I'm going to come to you first on this game. I know you have a play on the Steelers, but is there anything that you're looking at with this game, any news that might be coming out that might swing your opinion one way or the other?
I think we'll probably see this number stay same at the 3, but keep an eye out for this total. I think the bettors are going to bet this one over. There is 44s already popping up and 144.5 offshore. So I think the bettors are going to continue betting the total. I don't see that much line movement. They'll just maybe move the juice around at 3, maybe minus 120, maybe -115. And it's like, because Kansas City money is coming in. I said last night a $1.4 million bet came in on the Chiefs money line. So if that came on one book, I can guarantee you other books took a same amount of good action on the money line of Kansas City.
Chuck, I'm going to come to you next. On this game, just overall, is there any way you're looking at dissecting it? Because that 3, honestly, is the field goal. So you can go either way at buying it up or down, depending on which direction you want to go. Is there any way you're looking at this game overall, Chuck?
Loving the Steelers in this spot, catching the +3 and the over. They kind of correlate for me. I think a higher scoring game is going to favor the Steelers, which I see Steelers team total like that also. And the Chiefs coming off the short week, just played on Saturday. Definitely think this is a Steelers spot. The +3 team total over, love it. All correlates for me.
I like that. I like the look when Charles kind of digs in. He has one certain side. It makes me feel good about it because I do like the same thing. But we have Soupy. Any thoughts on where you're breaking this down one way or the other, whether it's fantasy side or whether you're actually looking at betting just overall in the game?
Well, another reason why I like this over is because the Chiefs are banged up on the defense. Chris Jones, he's questionable. One of their top linebackers, he just got put on IR. So that could be a great spot for the Steelers, who are getting George Pickens back. And him and Russell Wilson had a great connection before he went out with that hamstring. And Pat Freiermuth was taking over. He has touchdowns in 3 of his last 4. That's why I think this is going to be a higher scoring game, because I think the Chiefs are going to need to score to stay up with the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers have had troubles without George Pickens as of late. And so with the Steelers getting him back, does that really help him, Peyton?
Yeah, 100%. I like the over in this spot as well. I think 43.5 is kind of low, especially considering that the Steelers put up 17 points last week, and Wilson made those terrible decisions in the red zone that cost them 2 touchdowns, really. So they could have had 34 points or something in the 30s like that, which would have been sweet. And I think that they're going to have to keep up with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to score, and Mahomes, for some reason, plays better when there's reports that he's hurt. So, yeah, I like the over in this spot.
I do like that as well. The over, it seems to be the play, and that kind of scares me if all of us are on the same way. But there was a chat question in here. What's your best one-liner for Christmas movies? I saw Big Cheese just come through. Is you're not going to bench press your way out of this one, Ted. That's from Jingle All the Way. There's so many that just Home Alone in general gives out. The Elf gives out. I believe it's say hi to your dad, buddy, whatever, the whale, that narwhal that comes out of the water. So there's so many. I probably butchered that one completely, but there's so many one-liners. So keep popping those in the chat. I'm actually enjoying seeing the different things that people are interested in, just as I'm interested in this game. I know I like that first game because it is Mike Tomlin against Andy Reid. I think that's going to be a well-coached game just overall. But I think this game might have the Ferraris, the Porsche, right? That they have the faster track guys within the Baltimore and the Texans. And so let's start off with you, Raphael, on this. The Ravens are favored by 5.5. The total is at 46.5. Any way you're looking at on this game?
I don't know. The Texans look like fragile to me. Or I'm sorry, that's French. It's fragile. Just because of what happened to them their last game, how devastating with that injury on the offensive side of the ball. So I think if you're looking at this game, it's got to be Baltimore. But there's no more value. This one opened up at 3. Now it's 5.5, and I can guarantee you it'll probably push to 6, because this one's going to be a very teaser popular bet on Christmas with the NBA game. So this one will be a 6. This one, to me, maybe live bet it. Well, I can think this one going under the total 46 because I just don't see Houston scoring that many points.
Is that, Raphael, back to you, is that because of the lack of now Tank Dell? Like, they don't have him, and so there could be a focus, even though the Ravens are horrible in the secondary. Is that because of, just, I guess, not having Tank Dell and having to focus on Nico Collins?
I think the mentality of not Tank Dell, because they were still talking about that yesterday about his injury. Normally, when you see injuries, you move on, next man up. And when the team is starting to talk about it the next day and the next day, what's the mentality of that team coming into a short week now playing on Christmas when you're missing one of your key guys?
Yeah, the mentality could completely screw them up. But Chuck, I want to come to you on this one. The same thing. How are you looking at targeting this game? Is it is the spread, the total, any direction?
All about the total, even though I would be siding with the Ravens in this spot, but loving the over. Might even take it down to 46. But yeah, no Tank Dell. You can look at John Mechie. He might be a good replacement, but love this one on the fast track. Think we see plenty of points first half, full game. Even look at the Ravens team total.
Soupy, is this a chance for Stroud to kind of get back on track? Because he's had the sophomore slump, and that's kind of been discussed in general. But is this a chance for the Texans to get a big win against the Ravens?
On paper, it should, because the Baltimore has been one of the worst secondaries this year, and they've been one of the most favorable to the quarterbacks in fantasy. But Stroud has just not been able to get over these adversities with losing Nico Collins, and now they lost Tank Dell. I think this is just going to be difficult, even in a favorable matchup. But we already get a Deontay Johnson revenge game just days after he got released from the Ravens. I'm excited for that part.
Deontay Johnson. This one liner made me think of him. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. That was the classic one in Home Alone. That's what Deontay Johnson makes me think of. But a little less. Let's come to you. Any thoughts on this game? Because obviously Raphael's on kind of the under on this, but then Chuck's on the over. Any thoughts on the game in general, whether you're targeting the spread or the total?
I'm targeting the total here, but the last 8 games, the Texans, following a loss, have covered the spread. So last 8 games in a row. So do with that information what you will. But for myself, I like the Ravens covering the 5.5 because I think that streak ends after they run into Lamar, hot Ravens offense. And like everyone's mentioned, we got Tank Dell out now. I do like a lot of scoring in this game, though, 46.5. I think it could go to 50. I'd like taking over 50.5, honestly, in this game. I see a lot of touchdowns being scored. The Ravens put up 31 points on Christmas last year in San Fran. So good times for the Ravens. I think they do that again.
So the Ravens, big. I do like the Ravens in this game, just overall, just because I don't think the Texans really have the firepower to kind of keep up and kind of exploit that Ravens defense. But if you're looking at these games, it is a 1 p.m. start for the Christmas Day games, but also the 4:30 start for that last game. I do want to keep it on this because I want to ask a big, important question. It's bigger than the game. Obviously, there was, Raphael, there's some issues just overall with Netflix and their streaming. So is there any insight as to what this might look like? Will we have the same buffering issues on Christmas Day for NFL?
Well, a couple of books asked me if I was going to do any prop bets on buffering during the NFL games. I actually sent an email to Netflix and stuff like that, and they haven't responded back. But you figure they would have to do something different than what they did for the Tyson Paul fight. So I don't think that many views are going to be like in a Tyson Paul fight than it is Christmas. Let's face it, it is Christmas. I don't think a lot of people are going to be sitting down because people are going to be traveling with family. So maybe the game will be on, maybe the game won't be on. I don't think that much buffering will happen on this game.
Wow. See, I'm on the opposite side. I think because it is Christmas, people will have it on. Chuck, do you think, and will you have these games on in your house, even though you're celebrating or wherever you might be going on the road? Like, do you still think there's going to be households that just have this on as kind of the background?
I'm sure I'll be watching. I'm sure that'll be on, but I don't think that they expected as many views as they got with that Tyson fight. So I probably overwhelmed them unexpectedly. So hopefully they've made the proper adjustments. I don't think we'll have any issues. Hopefully we won't have any issues, but I do expect plenty of views. I know I'll be tuning in.
Yeah. Soupy, will you be tuning in? And anywhere you go, do you expect them to have the NFL on, even though it's on Netflix?
Yeah, I'm going to my sister's house for Christmas. We are a football obsessed family, so it's definitely going to be on. Let's just hope, they fix these streaming problems. Maybe they don't have your Wi-Fi anymore, DG, because I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi was struggling. Now I think I've upgraded it a little bit. But Peyton, you're there in the sauna. I know you're sweating right now. Do y'all have Wi-Fi where you're at? I would assume because you're on the show. But are y'all going to be watching the NFL games?
100%. And just to put it out there, in this basement, it might be 12 degrees. It is freezing in here. But we will be watching in the family room. It's going to be huge. We got the big TV going. There's probably going to be about 100 people coming over for Christmas. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're the opposite. Like a sauna should be super hot, and you're freezing. But before we got about 2 minutes before we're going to take our next break, but I want to go to that game on Thursday Night Football. It's kind of a throwaway game, but we have Seattle going into Chicago, and we don't have any graphics for it, producer man, so we can just stay here. But Raphael, I just want to ask your opinion on it. We do have Seattle favored by 3.5, and they're going into Chicago. Any thoughts on this game? With Seattle, they're still in the hunt, right? And so do you think that they go into Chicago and kind of just roll over them?
I think this game we're going to see a lot of points because Bears defense is awful. Their last 5 games, they've just been completely giving up points left and right. But the Bears offense could be moving the ball. This is an audition for Ben Johnson, the Bears players who are under contract. You're seeing some Bears offensive players going to do some stuff because now they're auditioning for a new head coach.
Yeah, that is big. Chuck, on you on this one, is this game you're looking or targeting in any certain way?
I was possibly looking at the under, maybe the home dog catching the 3.5. I don't know how much the Bears have to play for. They may come out inspired. I would possibly look at the home dog and the under.
Wow, you're on the opposite sides today. I like this a lot. Soupy, your thoughts on that Seattle going into Chicago?
I would be surprised if Chicago comes away with the win. Seattle's just not playing their best football, especially Geno Smith. He has just declined each and every week and each and every year since he had that breakout year a couple of years ago. So I'll take Chicago on the points.
10 seconds. Seattle at Chicago, Peyton.
The only thing I like playing in this game is Seattle's team total points, which is at 23.5 right now. So if the Bears are going to win this game, they're going to have to score, but I like Seattle's 23.5.
All right. Should be a fun Thursday night football game. But when you come back, we're getting into everybody's favorite segment. No, it's not the no-fly zone. It is soup or salad as we break down our prize picks. We'll be right back here on Stadium. All right, we are back here on YouTube with the OGs, and we want to go around again and ask another Christmas thing. All right, so my simple thing is it doesn't have to be a food item. It could be just an item in general. Is there something that is your favorite? Raphael, we'll start with you. A favorite dish, a favorite food, something that you're looking for Christmas, or a favorite just item overall?
When I put the calendar over to December, my mind goes to one thing and one thing only: peppermint bark. I'll eat anything peppermint bark. Ice cream, candy, pretzels. I love peppermint bark. It's my favorite time of the year in December.
Peppermint bark. I'm not huge on that. Let's go down to Chuck here. What is your if you have a favorite thing in general?
As far as the dish, either the deep fried turkey or the turducken, those usually go over quite well in our household. So yeah, no complaints there. So always look forward to that.
Subi, do you have a favorite item or food item or anything that has to be at Christmas?
The last couple of years, my wife has been making these like stuffed mushrooms with the cream cheese and a little bit of green onion. They're very good. I'm excited for those tomorrow.
Brown noser.
I see potato candy, and I don't know
What was that?
what that is, Kevin, but that worries me for you. I don't know what that is, but overall, yeah, it's definitely going to be something interesting. I do have mine, but before I get to mine, Peyton, what is your favorite item or food?
Grammy's homemade snickerdoodles, baby. Oh my gosh, they are fantastic. Fantastic. She makes way too many, and I eat way too many.
Is there? Do you put any of the cream on the top of the cookie? Do they have that, or is it just the cookie itself?
Well, they have it sitting there, but I just find myself holding the bucket and just that's all I need. And yes, it's a bucket. It is a bucket of cookies. Oh, it's great.
I like it. My favorite is my wife makes cinnamon rolls every Christmas morning. So we go back and forth. We have everybody over Christmas morning, just to kind of open some gifts and do some things there. As a fun breakfast type thing, and so she makes some date cinnamon rolls. So pretty good. I'm not against it. Do you have Chuck? Do you have 10 seconds? Do you have an item in general that Christmas you gotta have in your house or something? Is there an item that it speaks to you for Christmas?
I don't know about an item. Maybe just sports on. That'll just be an item that
That's-
has
yeah.
to be on.
I'm the same way. All right, we'll be right back on Stadium in 5 seconds. All right, we are back here on Stadium with Driving the Line. I am the host, Daniel Greer. I'm subbing in for Coach today, so if you're missing him, we're missing him as well. Probably everybody else is missing him because you get me, Buddy the Elf, hanging out on a Christmas Eve as we celebrate the holidays. But everybody's holiday is the soup or salad holidays, and we have our two guys. We're going to pit them up against each other and look through their prize pick. Let's go ahead and get to soup or salad. All right, boys. Who won last week? Okay, so we're going to lead off with Soupy. I did not remember exactly. So we have Soupy taking on Peyton here. So let's go with Soupy's prize picks first. What we got, Soup?
Let's start with today's San Jose South Florida Walker Egat. He ain't going to be a walker. He's going to be a thrower because San Jose is the top passing team in the country, 64.6%. He's thrown over 350 yards in 6 games this season, and he is going to be throwing it a lot. That's why I'm taking the demon for this one. And now 2 games tomorrow. We'll start with the NBA. Steph Curry. Lakers are 26th in assist percentage this year at over 66%. And they've allowed the 5th most assists per game to the point guard position. And he's hit this in 5 of his last 8. So give me the more than 5.5 assists. And Pat Freiermuth, even with George Pickens back, I still like him because the tight ends, they absolutely go off on the Chiefs defense. Most receiving yards against that position. And every week except one, the tight end has covered this 29.5.
Wow, what a stat. I do like that. I almost went with a Pat Freiermuth play for the show today because I obviously going against the Chiefs, everybody is getting they're feasting, as we'll say. So that's definitely a good look. I like all these plays, and that scares me because anytime we're on the same, that usually isn't good for you, Soupy. So I apologize in advance. But all right, so what's the record overall between you guys? Because I know you won, I think it was, have you won 2 weeks in a row, Soupy?
No, he actually beat me one time this year so far. So
All right. So, all right, here we go.
2-1. Let's calm down here. Let's calm down. He used the word year like it's been 365. Come on.
We've been doing this for 3 weeks. So it's 2-1 so far. I like that we're keeping this going because this is going to be very fun as we go, because now my nemesis Soupy Peyton, I'm really counting on you to take him down. So let's go with Peyton's prize picks here.
Little lettuce, baby. I'm going Derrick Henry, longest rush at more than 19.5 yards. He's hit this in 11 of 15 games this year. The Ravens are going to be up. They're going to be running the ball. The more they run, that gives King Henry so many opportunities to break out for a big run of at least 20 yards. I'm also going to go with Luka, more than 28.5 points. He put up 50 points last year on Christmas Day and 32 the year before that. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. And he's only at 28.5. So I think his field goal attempts should be close to 28.5 on Christmas Day. Also, I'm going to go, my demon pick is Nico Collins, more than 99.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to have a huge game. The Ravens allow the second most passing yards in the NFL. As we all well know, CJ Stroud's going to have to throw the ball. They're going to be behind, and he's going to have to look for big Nico Collins with his boys out, Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. So look for Collins to have a big night.
Wow, I like this. And the funny thing is, like, your reference to Home Alone was good, and I like that both of you have a demon pick. It's so these are on Christmas. The only thing that's not on Christmas was Soupy's first play, and that is tonight. So if you're looking at these and you're playing all 6, make sure you don't mistake it for all of these being on Christmas Day, and you unwrap it and you have cold because you forgot to put Soupy's first play in, which is the quarterback tonight for the game. So make sure you get into that. But let's go ahead and bring in the other guys, and I want to kind of ask their thoughts just overall on these plays. And so, Rafi, I want to come to you first. Your thoughts on any of these plays, anything that you like or don't like?
Well, I actually made Lettuce the favorite at -140 because of the Luka play. He always says, even on public, that he loves Christmas games. I can see him putting out big numbers. The quarterback play tonight's game kind of worries me. I mentioned in the chat, back-to-back Hawaii games have gone under the total. I think South Florida knows that San Jose's going to want to throw the ball early, so kind of look for a maybe different scheme for the Bulls on this one. So I made him the favorite because of the Luka play and Luka play only.
I like that. The Luka play was definitely nice. But shout out to Robert Bibbo for putting in another 5 memberships. If you are not a part of the crew, make sure you get in here and join us, because this is kind of what we're going to always be, is a crew. This is going to be our bread and butter, as we say. So get in here and reap the rewards. If you can't get a free membership, then you're doing something wrong. Go to your memberships, your settings, and figure out how to push the button that says accept the memberships. But let's do educate and entertain a little bit last today, and let's go ahead and look at the playoffs. Let's go to the AFC first, as we have these. And Soupy, I want to come to you on this. Is there any team that you're looking at, because obviously Kansas City plays on Christmas and they're going against that 3rd-ranked team in the Steelers? We've discussed that in general. Is there any team that really needs the win or really needs a lot of good, I guess, I don't know, anything good to go into them because they have to keep winning? But is there any team you're targeting right now?
Not in the AFC. To me, this looks like, besides maybe the Chargers and the Broncos, it looks like this playoff is just all set. I don't see the Colts, Dolphins, or Bengals making any push. So I think for what we have, I think this could be what the setup is for the AFC playoffs.
Wow. That would shock me, because I know the 9-6, that's a 2-game spread, and we don't have many games left. But the fact that they're still in the hunt with the Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals, the only team that to me screams the chance to even get in would be the Bengals, just because they've been somewhat playing better football. But Peyton, is there any team that you're looking at to maybe make a surge to be able to get into the playoffs or potentially fall out?
For me, I really don't see much change in here in the AFC. It's a 2-game difference. And I mean, with the Broncos there, they're pretty solid there, and the Chargers as well. But I like my Ravens to make a run in the playoffs, baby. They look low if you look at it on paper, but they're 10-5, and they got the hottest offense in the league right now.
Wow, the hottest offense in the league. Raphael, let you tie the bow on here. Does any of these teams surge up in the standings or could potentially fall out of the standings?
Hey, King Lettuce, Baltimore is on line 1 if you want to talk to them about the best offense in the Detroit Lions on line 2. But I kind of agree with Baltimore. They're plus 370 to win the AFC. They're playing now. We have to see how they play comeback on Christmas if they could get in there with momentum. But don't sleep on the Bengals. Even if they don't make it, they can still be a spoiler. They play the Broncos this week, and they've been playing some really good ball. If Joe Burrow wasn't on a bad team, he would be up there as maybe MVP talk. So don't sleep on the Cincinnati Bengals this week.
I like Cincinnati. I think they're feisty for sure. All right, well, let's go away from the AFC and go into the NFC here. And obviously, we have those Detroit Lions that are up there, and we now have a Eagles team that is there's a lot of questions surrounding what's going to happen with Jalen Hurts within the concussion protocol and the other teams that are in here. And so this is a little bit more fun. So, Subi, let's start you off with this one. Is there a team that's going to potentially surge up in the standings or even get into the playoffs in general or kind of fall out?
I'm taking Tampa Bay to take the NFC South. Them and the Falcons go ahead one more time. I don't know why. Yes, Kirk Cousins hasn't been playing well, but why are you putting in a rookie quarterback when you have a playoff spot on the line? Penix, he played well last week, but he played the Giants. The 5 of us, literally just the 5 of us, could beat the Giants. I don't think I trust them putting in a rookie quarterback with the playoff spot on the line.
Yeah, Giants are struggling for sure. But I'm curious about that Falcons team. Do they rally around Penix and kind of get in and kind of show their worth? Peyton, back to you on this. Same question. Anybody's going to rise up and get in, or can somebody potentially fall out?
I agree 100% with Soupy. The Bucks, I think, are taking the NFC South, and that's mainly here because they got Carolina and the Saints coming up, and those are two, very winnable games for them. And yeah, I think they're going to take the NFC South, and it's going to look very good on paper for them to be top 4 in the NFC just because they won their division. But yeah, also Lions, best offense in the league. I'm kidding.
Raphael, come back to you. Is there a team that could potentially surge up in the standings or fall out?
Kurt Hershey should be complaining about one thing and one thing only. Why are the Vikings the number 5th team at 13-2? I don't care about what the Indiana Hoosiers did. He should be complaining that a 13-2 team can be in the 5th seed in the NFC playoffs. That's crazy, but I wouldn't want to play the Vikings because they also play well on the road. They run the ball better on the road. I wouldn't want to play the Vikings.
Is that the scariest team, Soupy? Going to you, is one of these teams more scary than the other because of where they're at? Because the Vikings being 13-2 might be the matchup that you don't want to go against, other than we obviously get that the Eagles and the Lions are going to be, the top teams. But everybody else, is there a team that you're trying to fade? Is it potentially the Vikings or 11-4 team in Green Bay?
I love Green Bay. Dan Orlovsky tweeted it out earlier today. People are finally thinking that the Packers are a legit team. They've been a legit team. Don't forget, Jordan Love didn't play for 2 weeks. He was hurt. So you take those games away, they could have been a much better team. They are showing that with Love, with Jacobs, Love didn't have his best game, and they still won by 34 and shut out their opponent. Didn't matter if it's a Saint. It's still a professional football team. I love the Packers. I've had them high all year. I think they have the chance to be the NFC team represented in the Super Bowl.
Wow, that's very high. Peyton, is there a team that you're looking to stay away from if you're seeing them in your side of the bracket? Is there anybody you're looking to fade away from?
Yeah, I agree with Soupy. You have to avoid the Packers, especially in Green Bay, because that has got to be the loudest stadium I've ever heard in my life. And last night when I'm watching the game, it's 34-0, and people are going crazy like it's the Super Bowl, and it's 17-13, like it's a 1-score game. It's crazy. It was 34-0, and they're all going nuts. And Green Bay is absolutely crazy. I think they're 5-2 at home, I believe. So them at home is really tough to beat.
Yeah, Green Bay is definitely a tough team for sure. But there's a lot of these teams that worry me and scare me. But we'll get into all of that and much more as we get into our last segment. But make sure you stay around because we're going to hit on Aaron Rodgers potentially joking about being released from them, but also the injuries that are happening in the NFL. But this is Driving the Line. We'll be right back here on Stadium. All right, we are back on YouTube with all of the OGs and the crew. We have our last question. This is the Debbie Downer question, but it's always a fun one. And Raphael, we'll start with you again. What is the worst gift that you have ever received?
The chat's probably going to kill me on this, but one year I got a skateboard. And if you knew me as a kid, I was always either watching Cubs on WGN or doing stats or doing other things than skateboarding. So my parents bought me a skateboard. You know what I did the next day? I sold it to one of my brother's best friends for $25 and bought a pack of baseball cards.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me at all, Raphael. Chuck, let's come to you next. What's the worst gift that you've ever received for Christmas?
Well, right now it's all the Saints paraphernalia I received as a child. So yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and return that these days.
All right, let's go up to you, Soupy. Worst gift for Christmas you've ever received?
So for Kevin Wall's fantasy lineup, I would start Russell Wilson. For my fantasy lineup of getting gifts, sit the clothes. Even though I'm an adult, I still don't want clothes for Christmas. Get me nice gadgets. Get me cool things that I can actually use. I don't want clothes. I can go buy that stuff on my own.
Yeah, clothes. Yeah, clothes is tough. I have mine, but Peyton, what's your worst gift ever for Christmas?
I'm on the same topic as Soupy. I don't like people trying to dress me. I can dress, and Santa took a gamble one year and went with a pink tracksuit, guys, a pink tracksuit, and I was like, yeah, this is so nice. Thank you, Santa. Great. But next day, I got the receipt. That's all that mattered, really.
See, I'm my little one is behind me trying to sneak into the camera shot at this point. But Christmas is definitely it's a fun time. Come on, come say hi. Come on. Oh, you don't want to say hi? All right, everybody wants to say hello. But this is a fun time for me. There's little Margot over my shoulder. So can you wave real quick for me? All right, she's waving. Everybody's home for Christmas. We're getting excited. See, everybody's waving. Good time. But my worst one has always been some kind of if somebody tries to get me underwear. I don't want underwear from anybody. Let me buy my own underwear. We'll be right back here on Stadium. All right, we are back here on Stadium here with Driving the Line. We're going to get into some topics we want to get into with Aaron Rodgers, potentially joking about being released. But then also the more serious stuff with the injuries happening around the NFL as we do educate and entertain. All right, Aaron Rodgers, Raphael, was on the Pat McAfee show, and they were just joking and very much in jest, talking about the comments that were made from Jets owner about how they did not want to get Jerry Jeudy because his rating on was it NFL 2K, I believe that's what it was just too low, and so he was joking about being released. I know that's a joke in general, but is there any way that actually could happen?
Yes, because I think not only are ourselves, the media, tired of Aaron Rodgers, I think the whole New York City and New York Jets are probably tired of him. So it wouldn't shock me if they try to release him or they try to force him out. So I just think everyone's tired of Aaron Rodgers right now. Just everything that comes out of his mouth, people are just rolling his eyes. So I would not shock me if they're looking at every angle for he is not putting on a Jets helmet on next year.
So is there any way that the Jets owner is actually listening to his kids? It seems like that story could be a little true. Is there any way he's actually listening?
With some of the things that we're hearing about with Woody Johnson and how this Jets organization has been ran the last 15 years. I mean, they haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. It is now the longest drought of any major American sport. I think they are going to get rid of Rodgers. They're worse off than they were last year with Zach Wilson. You got to end it. He's going to be 41 years old. It's done. It's done.
Yeah. Is last thing, Peyton, is Aaron Rodgers going to get coal in his stocking? Is there any way they bench him this year at all, or possibly release him in the offseason?
I think they're going to release him and let him go in the offseason. I don't know if they're going to bench him right now. If the season's over, there's really nothing to change. There's no the season's just, God, it's done, like Soupy said. And yeah, I think the Jets also, the kids could be calling plays for all we know because, geez, they just look terrible.
Yeah, the Jets are terrible. Some things, some big injuries that happened in the NFL was last night we saw Christian Watson go down with a knee injury. There's been no reports overall so far, Raphael, about that. But also Tank Dell went out, and he's out for the season with a very gruesome injury. And so these are two teams that are very much alive in the playoffs, and their teams are really good. Which injury is bigger for you?
Oh, it's got to be Watson. Even though he came back and played a little bit, so that tells me it's not as bad as maybe it is. He is getting scanned probably in a couple hours. I think probably around noon, Green Bay time. So we should hear something sometime maybe late this afternoon or early evening about his injury. But I would say him, because the Packers need more offensive weapons, because they're not going to have home field advantage. I know everyone loves the Packers, but they need him to try to steal a road game in the playoffs.
Yeah, they definitely need they need everything they can on the offensive side because their defense is good, their running back is good, but their offensive weapons surrounding Jordan Love, because I'm very out on him being a great quarterback. I think he's good. Soupy, your thoughts on which injury is bigger just overall with those two guys?
I think the Packers are going to be fine without Watson. Jaden Reed has established himself as that wide receiver one, and you have Tucker Kraft. He's been a great tight end, and Josh Jacobs does everything. He's one of the best running backs in the league this year. I think it's going to be more on Tank Dell. We saw how C.J. Stroud played without Nico Collins, and now he's got to play without Dell. And from what I'm hearing with Dell, some of the problems with that knee, I think he could be out for at least a whole of 2025.
Wow, that would be devastating because that's when you're getting into not just this season, is you're talking about the next year and then the season that he comes back. Let's be honest, like you're still working yourself up to be in the good shape, but also finding your rhythm, your knee. Peyton, what's the bigger, I guess, injury for you if Christian Watson is out with a knee, like people are saying that he potentially could be hurt really bad?
Yeah, I think last night we saw that the Packers have a ton of weapons, especially in the passing game. You got Wicks, Dobbs, and Kraft. You got just so many guys to throw to. And Jaden Reed, number one, he really has established himself, putting himself over 100 yards multiple times this season. And I think Tank Dell has got to be the more important one to go with here for Houston. Once Diggs went out, Dell really just soared. And I mean, without him now, it's kind of only Nico Collins, and it's so important in the NFL to have a second guy to throw to.
It is very important. And the Texans this year, I think it hurts them the most this year. And obviously going forward because Watson will be back, next year, but definitely hurt for sure because, we're talking about Diggs being out as well. There's only one option besides Schultz as a tight end for the Houston Texans. So there's a lot to unpack with that. There's a lot of injuries that are happening, and unfortunately, that's part of the game. But we have, for some of you that have missed the beginning of the show and missed all the picks, and you didn't want to go rewind because you like being live with us at Driving the Line, we go ahead and do something that we call the whip around. All right, 15 seconds or less, and I'm going to go ahead and start first with Coach, and we're going to go top to bottom all around. But the coach has some Christmas Day games, and he's going to go with the Chiefs at -3, at -105 on the odds, and then the Ravens. He's taking both favorites, and so he's going Ravens -5.5 at -110. Chuck, what you got here?
English Premier League, Thursday, Boxing Day, Nottingham Forest and Tottenham, the first half over 1.5 goals. Nottingham Forest, first half team total over half a goal, and then Nottingham Forest team total over 1.5 goals. And blowout spot, Liverpool, Leicester, Liverpool first half team total over 1.5 goals. And a stay on your toes live play, Newcastle, Aston Villa, the both teams are scoring over 2.5.
Love the stay on your toes live play. All right, Raphael, what you got?
The Grinch who stole Kansas City. I'm going to take the Steelers alternate line -3.5. Give me the 2-1 on that one. The Steelers -3.5. The alternate line, you have to move that. And then give me Victor Wemby over 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists, laying the 3 nickels.
Those are Christmas Day games, but I have a game that's tonight, and that is South Florida versus San Jose State. We're looking at the first quarter, both teams to score. It's at -125. These are better offenses than their defenses, and so that's why I'm going to target the first part of that game. Then we're going to go with a Christmas Day, Xavier Worthy. They're going to find a way to get him the ball as they have been. We're going to go over the 50.5 rushing plus receiving yards at -125. Soupy.
I'm going to tail tonight's South Florida, San Jose State. South Florida, most plays per minute. San Jose State, 9th most plays per minute. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring, but I think San Jose takes this game, and I'm just going to slightly tease down that total, and you still get plus odds. Tomorrow, Chiefs, Steelers. I think we're going to see a lot of passing, 2 very good run defenses. Chiefs defense is hurt, so I think we're going to see a lot of offense in this game. Give me the over.
A lot of offense there in that Chiefs game. Peyton, what you got in the next game?
I got a lot of offense. Ravens, Texans. I'm going to go over 46.5. 9 of the last 11 Ravens games have gone over the point total. I think we're not only going to see a lot of scoring in this game, but a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. Also, I'm taking the Golden State Warriors team total over 114.5. Lakers are just having trouble playing defense right now, especially when LeBron and AD are out on the floor together. I think Golden State's pace is going to be too much for them to keep up with. 114.5 just seems too low for the Warriors.
Yeah, that team total is very promising for sure. All right, let's go around. We got about a minute and a half before we end the show. Let's go ahead and start with start with Raphael. We'll kind of go around. Is there anything exciting that you're doing for the Christmas holidays, but also any other holidays people are celebrating as well? But any of the holiday season, anything that you're looking forward to?
Well, normally I work really on 220-25 betting prop bets on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve, but I'm enjoying a peace. Last year I had the whole family over at my house, so this year I'm enjoying some peace and quiet, and get to do some work early this year.
I like it. All right, 15 seconds or so, Chuck. Anything you're looking forward to?
I'm just seeing those family members you hadn't seen all year, getting to catch back up. Yeah, that's mainly it. Gathering around the table, enjoying a meal, watching a good game. So yeah, all the things that go around the certainties.
All right, I got 5 seconds for you, Soupy. What you looking for?
Spending time with my family on Christmas, and it's my daughter's birthday on Friday, so we're going to go hang out at the aquarium with her.
Nice. Peyton, 5 seconds.
Hanging out with the family, nothing better. I haven't seen the Baltimore family in a while, so I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, what a great show. What a fun time. It is Christmas Eve for Peyton, for Soupy, for Chuck, Raphael, and producer man. This is Driving the Line. I am Daniel Greer. Be nice to everybody. It's Christmas time. We'll see you all next time as we party at the pay window.